Brussels is 100%, I don't mean 99%, 100% following the US line. That's all. Brussels is not thinking about Europe. Brussels is not thinking about the fact that Europe and China share the Eurasian landmass. Brussels is not thinking about the fact that for 2,000 years, trade between China and Europe has been a highly productive activity. The Silk Roads connected the Han Empire and the Roman Empire 2,000 years ago. The relations between China and Europe were highly productive in the last 20 years. Lots of business, lots of tourism, lots of growing relations. The United States stepped in and told Mrs. van der Leyen, no, you need to decouple. Told Europeans you need to decouple. Called Prime Minister Maloney, literally, you come to Washington, called her to the carpet and said, you have to get out of the Belt and Road Initiative. And then she went home and mumbled, oh, we're out of the Belt and Road Initiative. We're not against China, but we're out of the Belt and Road Initiative. Do you think she came up with that idea on her own? No, I can tell you. She came up with the idea, quote unquote, in the Oval Office because she was told that she had to do that. Well, the most active area is the BRICS countries, which started with 5, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now adds another 5, Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, and Iran. The 10 will actively pursue new monetary approaches, specifically to stop using the dollar in their transactions, because the US has this very bad habit, which Europe is now siding with. Well, let's confiscate the money of countries that we don't agree with. This is literally the US view, and Europe is, oh yes, 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 we agree completely. And so the BRICS countries are saying, okay, we can find other ways to trade, thank you. We don't have to go through Euroclear in Belgium. We don't have to go through the SWIFT system. We don't have to use US banks. And by the way, they will succeed in finding non-dollar ways to transact. A war could break out. It would be catastrophic. The United States could not win such a war. The term win doesn't even make sense. These are 2 nuclear superpowers. If there were a war over Taiwan, Taiwan would be destroyed and the US would not be able to defeat China, and the world would be on the brink of annihilation. So could a war break out? Yes. We have a lot of stupid politicians in the United States. Believe me, a lot of stupid politicians. And so a war could break out. If Europe has any sense at all, it should tell Americans, stop being so damn belligerent everywhere. This is not a game. This is not a money-making operation. This is our survival. Stop it. This is what Europe should be telling the United States. Europe learned a lot about war in World War I and World War II. Such a disaster. Cataclysmic. So Europe decided after World War II, we're going to do something a different way. Europe learned a lot about cooperation, actually. The United States is poisoning a lot of what Europe learned. Europe should stick by what it learned. By the way, one of the real achievements of Europe, now forgotten, was the OSCE, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. That brought dozens of countries together in a common security arrangement. Of course, the United States can't stand it. It's not NATO. But what for Europe it is something really important. The idea of collective security, the idea that you don't draw the boundary that Russia's the enemy, Ukraine is ours, we do everything we can to weaken the other side. This is primitive stuff. And after all that Europe went through, Europe should be the first to say that's primitive stuff. But that's American thinking, primitive stuff. And Europe should have a better idea. And it already was on the way to a better idea. But to tell you the truth, it's shocking to me. Countries that I really admired their society and their governance, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, they're all warmongering right now. They're all in the forefront of NATO. They're all gung-ho, we must oppose Russia. I happen to know the leaders of these countries believed something very different 10 years ago. So what happened to them? I think the US will have a lot of instability and a lot of unpredictability this year. Biden is 81 and is in no physical or mental shape to run again for re-election. This is obvious. Trump is unstable. He has dozens of criminal and civil lawsuits against him. This is our current situation. Both have enormous disapproval ratings, much higher than approval ratings. And the public is extremely on edge and is against the wars also. So there's a lot of instability ahead this year.